Startup Podcast PH is co-produced by Y Spaces, Apiron, Tuala, Simf, Sekuna, Red Dragon Global, Maroon Studios, and Aim High. Check out our partners in the description.
Welcome sa Startup Podcast PH, inspiring more Filipino entrepreneurs and innovators. We're live now in Facebook. Hello. And we have FoundHer, a community platform that champions and spotlights Filipina founders. We have the co-founders, Niña, Terol, and Candice, Quimpo. Hello, kamusta?
Hello! Ayan, exciting times na pag-uusapan natin tonight.
Yes.
Hi, guys. Salamat.
Yes, I'm actually very honored to have FoundHer. Actually, our external affairs director attended one of your events just a few weeks ago, I think, or last month. And magkakaroon na kayo ng isa pang event, actually very big event this coming Tuesday, October 14. So we'll talk more about that. But I'd also like to ask, ano nga ba talaga si FoundHer talaga? Ano yung like the motivation in doing it? Ano really yung ginagawa niya as a community platform? And also like in solving the gender gap nga, ano? But ayun, maybe I'll have you do the introduction kay FoundHer. So Niña and Candice, ano nga ba ang FoundHer?
Okay, I'll start and then Candice can jump in. So, as you mentioned, FoundHer is a community platform. So, we are a community of female founders and allies. So, it's a multi-gender platform and community that's committed to championing female founders and really uplifting and supporting women entrepreneurs so we can unlock and power the female-led economy. So, we can talk more about that in a bit, but it's really this gathering of people who want to see women thrive in business and who want to see women founders grow and scale their businesses. Kasi marami tayong pwedeng magawa. There's a lot of impact that we can create when we allow women to build and to build big.
Do you have anything to add there, Candice? But I actually have two things I want to, to kumbaga, mas laliman pa. Yung gender gap, number one. And second, yung community, the effect of having a community. Siguro I'll insert this question na lang din regarding sa gender gap. So ano nga ba talaga yung gender gap na to? And kumbaga how critical really is kumbaga yung closing or solving this gap?
Well, mabigat na tanong yan. I think the best thing for us to do is if we can allow us to tell us a little bit of how we started. Nag-umpisa talaga ang FoundHer, nilang imaginable impact. Me and I, we've known each other for a long time, and we found out maybe 3 years ago that we have a shared purpose in closing inclusion gaps in leadership, especially among women. And napadpad kami sa startup space kasi pag lumibot-libot ka sa mga conference, sa mga events, sa kung saan, parang nawawala lahat ng babae. Nasaan? Where are the women? So that's the question we started asking. And it's not just us. Investors started coming to us, a lot of enablers and builders in the ecosystem, when they found out that we were advocating for women in leadership, especially women founders and startups. We started to find that there's a common goal in starting what we're not calling the gender gaps in startups. And there are many ways to tackle that. But FoundHer, in 3 years' time, we found our space where what we want to do is close the gender gap when it comes to capital and funds and economic empowerment. Because gender gap can be everything. It can really be about how we stand in society, right? How we treat each other. But because startups is all about scaling our purpose-driven innovation without resources, then we have nowhere to go. So that's where we're starting. Finding the women, putting them in places of power, giving them a fair chance to be able to grow and scale and thrive as founders in a startup ecosystem that, for whatever reason, is a bit more bro than we want it to be.
Yeah, actually, napaisip tuloy ako, like here in Startup Podcast. I don't have the exact stats now. Maybe I should have done my research well before this, Pero, I mean, kumbaga common, like common perception ko lang. It's really true, no? I mean, it hurts, but it really is true na less ang female founders in the scene maybe. And ayun nga, actually sa mga na-interview ko, somehow less. I'm not that, hindi ko pa alam yung exact numbers, pero I'd guess around, na-interview ko lang, hindi ako namimili naman. So it's natural. Parang around 10 to 20% I guess yung female founders.
less ang female founders, but they're less visible. We are
Yes,
less
yes.
visible. So when we started putting together FoundHer, and you talked about how we have a big event coming in, we actually have had two founder forums in the past 2 years, in 2020 and 2024. First asking, are women investable? And realizing that yes, we are investable, but why are we invisible? How
Mm.
did we move from invisibility to investability and build a conversation around us? And that's how we ended up here with the Founder Summit, with people like Fevy attending our events and discovering us. Because guess what? We are not a small group of women. It's actually a growing, maybe this is a fragmented group because there hasn't been an opportunity for us to gather the way we do consistently.
Mm.
And I think Nina has a lot more to say about the actual gender gap stats and why it's important. But I think I just needed to drive the point that it's not that there are no women founders, it's a
Yes.
visibility issue.
Yes, yes. I very much agree. Niña, sige, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I think anecdotally, people have commented nga na when you go to anywhere from startup conferences to startup media, you will see about maybe 20 to 30% women. So anecdotal yon. And we don't have research and we don't fault anyone for not having the data because there really is no data. Tinanong mo what's the percentage of, female startup founders. We don't really know how much value do they currently bring, how much funds are they raising.
Mm.
Don't know yet, but
Mm.
we want to find out through these initiatives by, gathering the stakeholders, also asking the right questions, 'di ba? Saan ba nanggagaling yung mga gaps? But what we know globally is that, especially when it comes to the gender capital gap, the published figures worldwide is that only 2 to 3% of venture capital goes to female founders. Tapos pag sinabi mong mixed gender founding teams, ayan, akit na yan. So 12 to 16%. But generally, it's really all male founding teams that get maybe 84% of the available venture capital globally. Tapos on the flip side, only 15% of venture capital investment managers, check writers, decision makers are women. So everywhere, parang on the startup side, on the founder side, kulang yung babae or not enough of them are being seen. On the investor side, 15% lang yung female. So wala ka rin masyadong makikitang female investors. And that's also why you hardly see them anywhere, diba? So these are things that we're starting to tackle. In the Philippines, we know that women are at least more visible. They have a greater voice. We also have allies in the ecosystem, investors who are investing in these female led ventures. So medyo mas makikita mo siya dito in the Philippines. But there's still a lot of work to do kasi ngayon when you talk about a startup event, ang hirap makahanap ng female investor.
Mm.
I'm sure kayo, 'di ba, pag naghahanap kayo ng female founders to interview, mahirap din silang hagilapin. So there's a lot of work to be done to make them visible. So to encourage more women to enter the space. Kasi if you don't see yourself in the space, feeling mo parang hindi, 'di ba? Hindi sa akin tong mundong to kung wala akong nakikitang ibang babaeng building these startups and these high growth, high scale businesses.
Yeah. Actually, siguro yung insights din ng Startup Podcast. Actually, every Women's Month, which is March, right? Talagang ina-ensure ko actually na all-female yung na-interview ko for that month. Pero actually, to be honest, nahihirapan ako maghanap ng all-female na I mean, it's really, hindi naman siya nasa matter of like skill, diba? Or So it's really a matter of visibility nga. And second, parang alarming no? Parang alarming na dahil may gap, na mas marami nga yung male sa ngayon kaysa female, mas less yung nakukuha ang opportunities ng female. So, unless may gawin talaga tayo na intervention, I'm fearing na yung gap na yun ay magiging cause pa ng further gap. Kasi, kumbaga, kung yung playing field ay biased, of course, mas makakuha yung may more bias. So, parang lalaki siya ng lalaki unless nga meron tayong interventions like this platform that you're doing. Diba? I mean, is that right? What do you think?
Yes, but with caveats. I mean, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na mas madami talaga yung male founders hanggang hindi natin nabibilang
Yeah,
lahat
yes.
ng female founders. Hindi natin alam. Ang alam lang natin, medyo hindi natin nakikita. And it's a matter of your network. So
Mm-mm.
if your network does not overlap with the women's network, you're really not going to see each other. So there's really like that visibility issue.
Mm.
So if Febby never introduced us to you, if she
Mm-mm.
never caught us, by the way, she was in 2 events, not 1,
Mm.
then this would not have happened. So
Mm.
our way of being able to close, one of our initial ways of closing this gender gap in startups is really by gathering women
Mm-mm.
and allies and
Mm-mm.
spreading the word. One is also building confidence and competence among women founders to make them realize that the impact of the ventures that they're building are really necessary.
Mm.
And putting this in a framework where we value feminine leadership, like you're not supposed to pretend to be a man to succeed, right? Sometimes it happens. We also make sure that we have safe spaces where women feel that they belong. And we always ground a lot of what we do in real brain storytelling because we have to create, there are so many gaps in the startup gap, in the gender gap. And one is the narrative gap. um, a lot of the women who are making the headlines, and they very much deserve it because they're really successful in what they're doing. They're growing their businesses, they're fundraising, they're very, very impactful. But we kind of end up having, I would say, a revolving 30 women, more or less, that you would see on stages,
Yes.
in media, and all of that. And while they deserve it, the question is, why are we not able to see the others who are also busy building their things? So, as founder, our job is not just to make women visible, but to expand the stories that we tell about women founders and the different things that they're building. So we amplify voices where we can, both big voices and small voices, because sometimes we're just too busy working and not being able to go and do these things, right? Or we need champions because that's really how we grew. We grew on the shoulders of giants who went before us, gatekeepers who opened doors for us and allowed us to put our flag down and say, hey, the women, we need the space, we need our voice, we need the spotlight. And but we needed to be proactive. Like we couldn't just wait for things to happen. So we're very clear that we're not here to wait for leftovers or to wait for charity. We're claiming our space because if we close the gender gap economically, we have a $6 trillion impact worldwide. That's possible in economic growth. And that's something you can Google easily in terms of what it means to close the economic gender gap. And right now, we're starting with gatherings and events. And I think for the most part, people think that's what we do. But you hear us saying that we're a platform. And what we do is we bring the stakeholders of the startup community together so we can solve this problem, whether it's putting a village that's more inclusive together, telling more diverse stories, amplifying more diverse voices as well, and then gathering the data so we have a clear picture of what we're actually dealing with before we even tackle the bigger problems out there.
Yeah, I actually wanna contribute to that data, ano, kasi actually start a podcast, I go around the Philippines, not just in Metro Manila. And then what I usually do is I ask the incubators there, the enablers there, and then I let them choose the startups na i-interviewin sa podcast. So, parang maganda rin ngang makita na ngayon. Sige, I'll give you the stats. I'll contribute here kung ilan yung
Yes.
female-founded startups, tsaka yung mixed genders even. Parang maganda siyang tignan nga.
And at
But
different stages also, right? There are, if you talk about
yeah.
TBIs, that's just one. At what point do we stop funding the female
Mm-mm.
founders after they get the initial funding? These are the things we discover along the way when we dig deeper into the stories of the founders. And it's not, to be fair, and we've said this ever since, we're not putting a gender war out there. A
Mm-mm.
lot of the enablers and the investors happen to be male by nature of the startup ecosystem, and they're the ones putting money. But still, there's no real, unlike in other countries or other societies, right? There are some funds that are dedicated to women. I don't think locally we can honestly say that we have a full time fund dedicated to women. We do have gender lens applied in some funds here and there, but the one that's really dedicated and looking to increase the number of women being funded so that they can have the support as they scale, we're not there yet. So where do we start, right? Niña and I were two girls on a mission. Um, we start by building a community so we can stand for each other and by each other.
Sige, speaking of that, sige, let's talk about FoundHer as a platform. So you've actually done so far some good initiatives that actually Fevy really likes. Actually, to be honest, Fevy really wanted me start a podcast to interview you kasi parang siya mismo ay na-inspire din sa community na binibuild ninyo and yung the way you empower female founders. So sige, on that end, what exactly is FoundHer doing? And maybe i-bridge na rin natin sa nararating upcoming Founder Summit this October 14. So, and maybe even the events nga that you've done in the past. Sige.
Siguro I'll add naman. So in terms, let's talk about the 4 gaps that we're closing and then iba din sa events and the initiatives na. So as FoundHer, we've seen 4 gaps that need to also be bridged for us to close the gender capital gap. So, first yung knowledge gap, diba? So, minsan, hindi mo alam, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, diba? And if you're a founder who's so busy with her business, you know that you need growth capital or some form of funding, sometimes you don't even know where to start, diba? So, it's important for us to bridge female founders to different kinds of knowledge about what's out there, different capital options, the different kinds of investors, diba? Everything else that's available within the ecosystem. So that's one. Second is there's also a privilege gap. If you did not go to some of our schools, were not born, with privilege, with luxury, with certain networks, and if you don't have access to the right people who can open doors for you, paano ka na? And our society pa ngayon is, let's face it, is very Metro Manila centric. So if you're a female founder who's not in Metro Manila, not from BGC, Poblacion, etc., all of these networks, you won't have enough people who will be connected to other networks who can open doors for you. So then there's also what we call a village gap. Entrepreneurship can be very lonely and isolating. Kasi nga, you're so busy building your thing, diba? And you need to have that kind of a support group of people who are going through what you're going through. Because you can't always talk about founder issues with your spouse, your employees, your best friend. Iba yung journey na pinagdadaanan ng founder. And we also saw, as Candice pointed out earlier, that there is a visibility gap. So if you don't see yourself if you don't see other women like you in mainstream media, in the conversations, in stories, on stages, so hindi mo rin alam kung saan ka lulugar. So as FoundHer, we're working to solve these 4 gaps through the programs that we'll be offering and starting with the events. Kasi nga we've seen na kailangan muna to bring the women together in safe spaces where they feel there's community, but where they can also start to bridge some knowledge, diba? Some of these competence gaps through more inclusive programming. Hindi siya training kaagad-agad, diba? Hindi siya networking kaagad-agad. We've built events that make it safe for women to come and say, I just want to check it out. I just want to be in community and conversation with other women. Introvert ako, hindi ako para alam mo yung hustle type of networking. There's a different way by which women operate and feel like, feel safe to connect with each other. And that's how we started. And we can talk about the FoundHer Summit later. And we've built these types of events so that you can go there and listen, learn, network. Pero hindi siya, alam mo yung, high octane testosterone type of networking event. It's really built for women, by women, but also to make it inclusive to everybody so that men like you who want to learn how to, diba, how can we help? How can we participate? You will also feel like there's a space for you to be part of the conversation. So yun, to just to bridge it, diba? Right now we're solving for those four gaps through the events that we are organizing. But there will soon be more in the programming, because we know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we need to be able to scale also our reach and our impact beyond Metro Manila. Kasi yun na nga yung problema eh. We need to be able to reach out to more founders everywhere in the country.
Yeah, first of all, I like that contrast yung kumbaga yung high octane. Ang startup kasi parang noon ang startup community sa parang go 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 ganyan. Pero actually, ang nakwento nga ni Fevy, kanina pala shoutout si in your event was I remember this was the event with Ina of Hey Rumi.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
fundraising topic. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, may sharing speaker, and then after may parang mga open mics so I think yun din yung parang pagiging inclusive and really a safe space nga for female founders. And to be honest, actually I really like that idea. And sorry, plug ko lang onte. Magkakaroon ng event din ng Startup Podcast PH. And medyo na-inspire ako dun sa idea ng open mics. So, we'll actually also be doing that. Kasi I also like that idea of kumbaga, of course, paganda naman yung high octane, kumbaga yung go ng startups. But meron din space kumbaga for that inclusivity, that. But anyway, going back, let's go sa Founder Summit na mangyayari nga ngayong October 14, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Space at 1 Ayala. Sige, so what's in this summit? I saw that kumbaga parang congregation, parang delegates, and then startup founders, investors. So what really will happen here? And maybe let's invite, baka mayroong nakikinig now na interesado umattend. Ayun.
I'll pass it on to Candice. She had a very heavy hand in curating the program and the speakers. So I'll turn over the floor to you, Candice.
Yeah, the Founder Summit, we're very excited about this because we've been dreaming of a way to show something that's as big as our goals, right? And this is going to be a whole day event from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and then after party, where it starts off with what we call the Founder Conference. So what we're doing in the very beginning is off the bat, we're going to talk about what it means to invest in the Filipina founder with keynotes and panels and Q&As. We'll always have Q&As because part of our DNA is conversation. Our welcome remarks will be by a staunch ally in the startup space, his Senator Bam Aquino, who's been a startup ally. And, somebody's been very open-minded about progress. So we're very happy that he's on our side and our mission here. He'll give the welcome remarks. He'll be followed by the CEO of Paymongo, who's Jojo Malolos, who has steered the company into amazing growth in the last couple of years. And on the other parts of his identity, he's also a very staunch ally of female founders and angel investor. He works with the Silicon Valley Association, which is a startup association. I don't know if you're familiar with them. That just really wants to move the needle forward when it comes to including the rest of the startup ecosystem in conversation and progress. Then we'll have two amazing panels. This is where we really put down saying we are not starting a gender war. We have an allyship panel, investor allies from basically we have Paulo Campos from Kaya Founders, the Apache Life, and the crowdfunding platform, which is the Spark Project. Joan Yao from Kickstart Ventures, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, I think. That's very strong in venture capital fund here. And we have Riyadh Hadi of Build Philippines, which is one of the forebears of impact investing. I'm missing something. Conrad, the Source of Investing in Women, which is funded by Australia Aid, to talk about what does it mean to be true allies in this space. What does it mean to not just be cheerleaders and actual champions and open doors and put the money where your mouth is when it comes to championing female founders? And we have very exciting women investors panel, which will be moderated by Niña. And she mentioned how difficult it is to find women Filipina investors. But I think the numbers are growing. They are there. They're just not visible like our founders. We have the amazing Tina Pichito of Manila Angel Investors Network and
Really.
Moon Urban Capital, who's going to be speaking. We have Fatima de la Cruz of Atlas Ventures. We have Irina Reyes of Speed Capital. She's Filipina, but the company is Singapore based. She's been trying to find ways to support Filipina founders here who are at the more advanced level in their businesses. And then we have Katrina Magsitia, Fox One Capital Ventures.
Mm.
And they are very well versed and well informed of what it means for women to be on that side of the table, why it's important to have women investors be check writers, and what does it mean for the future of our gender parity issues to have more women investors about this. So that's the big conversation in the morning, and that runs from 9 to 12. And then we'll have a break.
One.
So parallels siya. May parallels.
No.
Sorry.
Ay.
To
So
the
yeah, this one is tuloy-tuloy, yeah, 9 to 12.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so that's about 2 big halls in space at Juan Ayala. So everyone's
Ah.
welcome to come, because it's going to be a giant conversation. And after each panel, there's a Q&A. Bring your questions. And in our past events, the women bring their questions, because where else can you ask your questions? And when Niña talked about the village gap, part of that really is really connecting to all these amazing people. And how do you get in the door or in the room with them? So we hope through FoundHer, we can at least shorten a few of these pathways and allow you to be in the same room as people who also are looking for ways to close the gender gap in their own capacity. The afternoon is even more exciting. We'll have 2 programs running. We have the Lead Like a Girl sessions in one of the
Mm.
halls. We'll split the halls into in the afternoon. We'll have founder stories and founder masterclasses where they go back into what it took for them to succeed and thrive as founders and bring insights to the crowd. And we'll have 2 bespoke workshops, leadership workshops really designed for women. One is called Peers in Productivity, really acknowledging that our physiology and just really being born into a woman has changed the way that we lead. It's not just because you're on your period and masungit that. It's really not that. The truth is, women are always on their cycles. Our cycles are ongoing. And if you're a man, I highly encourage you to go, because it affects the way that you work with the women as well. If you lead women or you work with women, you will benefit from this kind of workshop. It's going to be fun. It's going to be facilitated by Kindred Health's CEO, Jessica De Mesa, and a
Mm.
few other co-facilitators. So it's medically rooted as well, and with some cultural, of course, implication. And they prepared very interactive session. And then the other workshop is called Presence and Influence. Because you cannot be a founder and a leader if you do not know how to command the room, if you do not know how to talk about your story, talk about your venture, how to get from point A to point B in a narrative, and how to stand and influence the people that you need to, affect the way that they think, the way they make their decisions. So that's very critical. At least in the early stages of FoundHer, these are 3 things we think are important to start with in terms of skill sets. In the other room, it's an exclusive investor mentoring session. So this is a big, I think we're really happy to put this together. We have, I would say, over 15
almost
commitments, almost 20. Yeah, I haven't had the last count yet. We have commitments from almost 20 investor firms or investing mentors who are coming in to be part of group mentoring sessions for those who sign up for this event. So this was a closed event. You have special conditions on signing up. Either you have to be one of our members or one of our partners, guests, or accredited attendees. We'll be announcing all the mechanics by tomorrow. But if you can imagine, if you have been looking for a way to meet, a couple of investors in the room, and there's just who's going to introduce you if you're not hobnobbing, right, in certain spaces. This is the shortcut that we're providing at least for one day. Limited seats, because if we can only do the math, right, I think we can only host 150 women, more or less, at this point.
150 to 175 max, I think.
Mm.
And then as a highlight as well, we have Andrea of the Ignite House
Mm.
of Innovation. Am I
Yes.
right?
Uh.
My goodness, I have to memorize all of this. Who's going to give this amazing masterclass on what it means to find your GPS? So this is your, oh my God, I forgot to choose it. It's a
Ano,
purpose,
genius.
genius
Yeah.
purpose and service. Enable for you to figure out who your core customer is and how to solve their core problems. And that's something that as a founder, it's not automatic if you don't have mentors. So the mentorship program for a whole afternoon is also your right way to at least think if you're on the right path. Ask the questions in the room. You don't go there and listen. It's a very active and interactive part of the program. And lastly, while all of this is happening outside, we have a community experience called the FoundHer Fair. We have booths, we have a lounge, we have female-oriented services, some really cool giveaways happening. And it's just there the whole day. So it's a real community gathering. And you go where you feel will benefit you the most. Unfortunately, you can be in two places at the same time, but you can be there the whole day, from morning till afternoon, and you will be in the place where people, I guarantee, they want you to succeed. That is really what it's like to be part of the founder community.
Yeah, I'll add lang, what's super exciting, especially about the investor mentoring sessions. Typically, if you're a founder, the only time you're in front of an investor is you're in a pitch competition, tapos meron kang 3 minutes lang to talk about your business, di ba? Tapos nagmamadali ka, and then judge ka. Kasi nga, siya. Or, yun nga, you're in some kind of speed dating, networking event.
5 minute investor matching. I saw that recently.
But here, you are being mentored. Like, you are not pitching. You don't have to have things figured out. You don't have a deck. You're not going to grill about your numbers, but you can ask questions. And the investors are there to answer. Diba? Tipong, what are you looking for in founders to invest in? Diba? Ano yung challenges? All of these things. It's a very rare moment when you can get mentored before you start fundraising. So we're super excited about that. It's in a way the FoundHer Summit is a bigger replica of the conversations Candice and I have been so privileged to have over the past 2 years with our investors, our advisors, mentors. Parang we've had a lot of conversations in behind closed doors. And the FoundHer Summit is a curation of let's give more people the chance to be part of these conversations. Let's democratize access to this. So it's really for everybody, female, male, everybody else in between. It will take an entire ecosystem to move the needle to close gender gap. So sama-sama tayo. So let's all also learn together.
Wow. Actually,
Yung schedule mo.
actually, first of all, grabe yung the people that will be here. Ano? Actually, when when Candice was mentioning yung mga speakers, mga mentors, mga ano yun mga, kumbaga, quote and quote, kumbaga, big names din somehow sa ecosystem. Ano? So, go. Tsaka,
They are.
ang ganda nung parang setup na it's an environment nga. Ano? So, habang may nangyayaring mga talks, panels, workshops, then meron ding lounge for like the booths for like so it's like it's not just a seminar, it's also like an environment din talaga for this, kumbaga, for this movement, for this endeavor, kumbaga, ano. And ayun nga, no, so hindi lang siya pang babae. although
Except for the mentoring segment.
yes. So it's you're also actually inviting male founders, male participants, kasi kasama-sama naman talaga ang male and female in solving this gender
Yeah.
gap nga. Ayun.
Actually, if you're a father or you have sisters, you would want a better world for them, right? That's also one way to look at it. We're not just solving it for our bottom line. We're also solving this for the tribes that we belong in.
Mm-mm. Is this the first time pala ba that Founder Summit will happen? Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry.
It is the very first Founder Summit.
Okay.
We've had two smaller events called the Founder Forum. They were half-day events. They're like I would say 1/4 the effort of what we're doing at the summit. So this is really, we say it's our boldest, biggest shout out to the startup ecosystem to champion the Filipina founder. No, the core belief that we have is if women thrive, everyone does. We all do. Because women, they bring communities with them. As they succeed, as they grow, damay-damay lahat, walang iniiwan. That's just how we operate. We are a collective kind of leadership by nature compared to competitive. And don't get me wrong, lots of ambitious women here. Very ambitious, bold dreams of what they want to achieve. But we don't think we need to kill each other to get there. We carry each other along. And we're able to do this in a place where they don't feel they're competing for space, for competing for spots in right investor networks or any kind of society or groups. Like there is space for all of us, then we can all build a better place together. And hopefully, it also inspires the men to think the way that we do. Less burnout, less hustle, more equitable way of thinking. Because if you want, iba, it's not a win-win na I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's like, if I win, you win. If you win, I win. It's how we want to think the world should operate.
Ayun, grabe. Actually, I really wanna go.
You have to
Exciting.
go.
Yeah, and we'll cover, kumbaga, we'll take pictures, ganyan. Ayun, no, by the way, so meron tayong discount code sa Startup Podcast PH. So if you're interested to go sa Founder Summit, you can use the code FoundHer. And by the way, it's FoundHer, no? FoundHer. So I think play of word somehow na may her, no? Yung founder for found her. Sorry, the code is found her dash SUP15. So that's FoundHer dash SUP15 to get 15% discount on all regular tickets and bundles for the Found Her Summit. By the way, I also saw kasi sa website ninyo, meron yung membership. So how does it work ba? So parang can people be members ba dito? How does it work lang yung part na yun?
Yeah, so actually, in the FoundHer Summit, you will notice merong Experience Pass tsaka Elite Pass. So the Experience Pass gives you the entry to the ticket to the FoundHer Summit and all the main programs. But if you book the Elite Pass, that gives you entry to the FoundHer Summit, exclusive access to the investor mentoring segment, and then 1 year membership into FoundHer. So that can be part of the programming that will be launching after the summit. So meron talagang intentional programming for the members, and the FoundHer Summit can be your starting point. May benefits ka na kagad, and then yun, meron ka ng subscription for the entire year. Of course, we'll still open membership after the summit, pero sulitin na yung experience, di ba?
We're selling the membership at a discount if you package it in the Elite Pass. So you get a discounted ticket, discounted membership fee because it's all packaged together. And that's just going to be until the 14th. Regular rates for membership comes back on the 15th. So you might as well just sign up already and then know that if you are excited about what we can do in a day, imagine what we can do in 12 months.
Yeah, so speaking of that, so pag nag-member, no, so may perks for the upcoming events and programs pa. How often ba does FoundHer hold these events or these gatherings?
I'll talk about this year, but
Okay.
the things will change next year. This year, we've had every month a small community gathering.
Okay.
Every month. So every other month, we would have our private curated women's brunch. All women, very quiet. This one we don't publicize and because we want to keep it very safe. And this is where we talk about things that matter to us as women who are leaders, who are building companies, even just leading their families, right? It's all important. In between those months, we have the Founder Roundtable. This is where Febby has seen us 2 times. This is our very inclusive startup ecosystem discussion event series that we've opened up. Every event that we do, whether it's the giant summit or the small community events, is always anchored by a founder story, a real story of a founder, because we want to make sure that we highlight. So in the process of this month, we've been able to highlight at least 10 new female founders, but in 3 years, we'll have to add how many sala sessions? Basta madami na siya. And it's hindi siya we don't repeat in our small effort to be able to highlight as many women's stories as possible. But the discussion, as you've noted and been excited about, is what drives the community forward. We forge connections and nurture relationships by engaging and facilitating these discussions, which are respectful, safe, but also really open to different points of view. So that's just this year as we're spending the last year plus listening. We wanted also to listen to our community. We wanted to listen to our allies. On top of that, we also listen to our partners in the ecosystem about what matters to them. So 2026, the best thing about the summit is our most giant listening piece. It will inform us on what next year is going to look like. But we're already looking at ways to include membership in the programming that we were not able to do this year. The everything that we're going to build next year will have the members in mind, whether that's a wellness track, whether that's
Mm.
financial capacity and knowledge, whether it's a
Mm.
fundraising. We need to be engaged with our community to know what to prioritize and with our partners. So as a platform, you will not see Nina and myself claiming to be the experts in the room. We bridge you to the knowledge and the resources that is required for you as a woman in Philippine startup to be the best possible self that you can be. So 2026, that is our goal, is to be able to use our platform, our network, our connections, all the names that you've heard. You will also have access to them next year and more.
Mm.
Madami pa dyan na nag-know kasi busy or out of the country or whatever. We want to be able to utilize the network that we built in the last 2 to 3 years for the benefit of our members. Like what Niña is saying, we want to scale our experience to everybody else. Um, because we know our luck, but meron din siyang hangganan. There is no point for us growing if we're not able to do this for our community. So that's the 2026. The promise next year is another founder summit. And then we'll see where it goes because we want to make it intentional and meaningful. It's not about how many events can you go to, right? But what are the returns on your time? Because everyone's so busy. What is the fastest way for us to make a difference in your life as a founder? And we'll definitely be very, very intentional about that.
Yun din pala yung perk, no, when people become a member dito. So first, yung network nga to this amazing community. And second, you also get to shape, they actually also get to shape what will happen to the platform. So it's really like a membership. And I really like how you said na parang hindi to set. Kumbaga somehow the members or kaya nga it's a community platform, So it's a community and somehow you are the bridge to the platform that will shape and kumbaga will give the community what the community really wants, what the community really needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Nice.
Also learning as we go along And diba, as
Mm-mm.
we meet more founders and as we meet the diversity of founders, marami ring nag-emerge na, kailangan pala to, urgent pala to, diba? Oh, there's
Yeah. It's the nature of startups. As a startup company ourselves, we need to be able to pivot as necessary. Pagdating pa lang ng AI, iba na yung usapan ng ano ba ang pagiging startup founder, di ba? And we can say, oh, but we're only doing gender. We're not going to touch tech. That doesn't make sense. We have to listen. Everybody needs to be able to adjust to the times. Or, oh, it's a funding winter. What do we do about that? How does that shape the conversations that we're having amongst ourselves, our fears, our challenges, and our breakthroughs? So in the next thing, of things happening in the startup ecosystem. We have the ecosystem as a whole is in conference season. I just came from the one in Cebu, and that was kind of amazing. The energy locally, I think, I'm very optimistic about the local startup ecosystem, and because Cebu is in the middle already, was able to meet a few more, and from the region as well. Very optimistic about the country. Our challenge to the founders is to step up and really use the summit as your first step into making sure that you claim your space in this growth. We are growing as a startup ecosystem. Huwag ka magpaiwan. Kasi if we're never giving everything we can, diba? Network, resources, safe spaces, storytelling. There's a lot that you can hurdle over by hanging out with us and making sure you're part of the way we're growing as well.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, this isn't just for tech startups. We talk about
Oh,
founders, but we're not talking exclusively about tech founders. We have women in our community who are in the creative fields. One of our frequent flyers, she's a stylist and she just posted a story to the see her name is Miss Case, and shout out to Casey Leko. So she shared about how she started by attending Sala sessions, these women only brunches, and then things grew from there. We have people who are coaches, who are in the healing modalities. Of FoundHer, you really can start from anywhere, even if wala ka pang business. Diba? But
yeah.
before you get things going. I mean,
But what excites me is we really do. We're industry agnostic. We have women in game. We have women in construction. We have women in engineering. But they're all looking for a place to belong. Maybe down the line we'll be able to have, diba, found her something segment,
May
like
manage.
found her engineers or something, whatever that might look like, diba. But for now, it's really just a group of women and their advocates and their allies just want to flip the narrative, really. Because the impact that we're seeing with the little support that we're getting as women founders is already amazing in education, in health, and so many spaces where women are allowed to build, or women are, I say allowed because it's really much harder if you're in a space that's more male dominated. But at a certain point, that shouldn't matter anymore, right? That's kind of where we're headed. But for now, we know, and statistics show that when women are provided the support and the resources to lead, the returns economically and monetarily are really good, even better than the men. We can draw up the stats for you. It's everywhere. It's not a joke, and it's not a secret.
Trust the digital future with Twala. Secure and tamper-proof digital signature. Electronic notarization service. And custom AI agents for intelligent document workflows. Visit twala.io to learn more. In today's digital world, your organization needs more than just technology. It needs a strategic partner. At SIMF, we build web and mobile apps that drive innovation for startups, enterprises, and organizations worldwide. Visit simf.co today.
Protect your assets from bugs before bad hackers exploit them. And launch your products seamlessly with Secuna, your trusted partner in cybersecurity. Receive reports in real time and work with security experts to find bugs in your products before others do. Let's make your security our priority.
Yes. Ayun. Can I go just back a bit lang, ano? I really, kasi with all the things that you're telling us here right now, ano, and even yung very unique eh. I mean, I think it's very unique. It's very fresh nga actually for me eh. Can I just ask yung parang pinaka background pa nito? Maybe maybe if we can ask you a bit more of your backgrounds pa, parang maybe me rin and the listeners can understand more how and why kumbaga yung lalim ng ganitong kumbaga yung paggawa nyo ng ganitong platform. So can I ask lang really yung background and maybe parang how what really pushed you, the both of you, Niña and Candice, to really start doing FoundHer? And maybe kay imaginable impact pa, so maybe somehow related to all.
Let's clarify first the imaginable impact, and then you want to know Niña and my stories, right? Imaginable Impact was the company that we started in 2023 when we decided to do this. It's still the company that we're running, but FoundHer is the calling, right, that comes out of Imaginable Impact as we decided to build community. So if you are part of our community as Imaginable Impact, you're part of the FoundHer community, and it's the mission we've decided to pursue, the FoundHer mission. Okay, Niña can start. It's a very long story. Let's see how we go.
I guess, pinaka context, like seed of a context, is Candice and I have known each other since college. So we've known each other longer than maybe some of your listeners have been alive. But
True. We've known each other longer than our partners.
yeah, actually. And we've always been part of the group of students na alam mo yung laging bibo, laging active, ganyan. So, back then pa lang in our teenage years, meron ng, I guess, a restlessness and a wanting to make a difference in our community, and we were always community builders in some way. So that was in the 90s. Fast forward to the 2020s when we had syempre we've gone our divergent ways in our careers, no. I'll share my side and Candice can share hers. I started getting involved in the startup space maybe about 10 years ago as a mentor. Tapos yun, and actually 2013 pa lang nag-Geeks on the Beach na ako. So the very So doon ko nakita na bakit walang babae? 'Di ba? It was mostly male-dominated talaga. And then, as I went into mentoring the startups and then eventually joined the venture builder, it was so male-dominated. And it really felt like, wala bang space yung babae dito? How about me? I was a startup leader. Where was I gonna go? Parang I really felt like, um, is this a place where I can thrive as a female, or do I really have to bro up, 'di ba, and man up to belong here? So there was that seed, and maybe as far back as 2017, parang ano na, may mga questions na where are the resources for women? Where are the funds for women? Where are the incubators for women? Where are the accelerators? Parang bakit lahat lalaki, bro, a fam. Alam mo yun, yung mga ganon. Parang yun yung picture mo of startup. So, and that's what led to I guess, the exploration of the gaps in the space. But I'll pause here so that Candice can share her side of the journey.
Yeah, I started as a writer and editor. I've always been in the communication space. So first in publishing and then marketing communications. Everything coming to a point where I learned about this, what like developed a new world to include impact storytelling. So for a big part of the mid 2000s, I was an impact storyteller, learning about and I can drop all the big words like how to be intersectional, talking, centering on the marginalized communities so that we don't other those who need their voices amplified. I had a deep dive into what DEI was before DEI was part of the conversation. So inclusion was a big part of finding the humanity in people who needed to be centered because they weren't getting a fair chance at resources or political rights or economic rights and all of that. And when I met up with Niña, I didn't realize that I actually had startup exposure because early in, I think, 2012 era, when the startup space was growing, I was actually part of an editorial team that was also very excited about the growth of, at that point, entrepreneurship. But really, it was the growth of startup and social entrepreneurship at that point. So I saw a lot of the names that right now are the OGs in startups starting, whether it's the companies or the personalities that when I came back and I saw the growth of the startup space, and me and I started finding the middle of our Venn diagram and finding inclusion and leadership and women's rights to be where our hearts really wanted us to go. I found the startup space as it's like the other side of the coin of what it means to be a creative, strategic, problem solving person. Um, and that's pretty much what kind of allowed me to work with Niña because yes, I come from the creative space in so many ways, but I was also a strategist. But all of that, telling other people's stories and finding the humanity in all of it is really also the other side of startup. You can't solve problems if you're not looking at the human side of things. You can't grow if you cannot tell your stories. You can't change the world if your narrative is stuck at one point. So that's why you hear us talk a lot about the same words because I guess there you go. That's our background. Startup allows us to make the biggest change, hopefully in the fastest time possible, because that's the demand. And I suppose when you've been working for more than two decades, you want the fastest way possible to make an impact in everything that we've done in our past. And it's a very non-linear path for me and Mia in our work has led us here. And then everything just started to make sense, right? We want to build a better world where our skill sets are the passions and our intuition and our intentions all line up. And it has led us to a community that we want to champion and a change that we want to really fight for.
And then how did parang how exactly?
Did we start?
Yes.
We started over lunch. It's true. So Niña and I met in person after a very, very long time after COVID for a
Mm,
birthday. We wanted to
mm,
have a birthday lunch.
mm,
And the geeks that we are, we had our notebooks all out talking about, well, before that, we were even talking about our next steps in life. We were both in transition professionally.
Hang on. And we actually started a podcast.
Oh my God. Yes,
mm.
there's that also. So we were both thinking about, yeah, so we were in transition. We started a podcast saying, let's just do something. We like projects. A podcast we launched and never marketed, but it's still live. We can just put it somewhere later. Um, we recorded 6 episodes. We
Oh,
had guests. We
oh.
did everything, and then got tired. Man, I don't know how you do this. It's exhausting. It's not just pressing the record. You really have to sustain it. So props to you because, man, it's really hard. And then so when we met up in person, we realized that no, we're not podcast creators. We're actually consultants and strategists. And that's how we started. We started as consultants for inclusion and leadership until the problem found us.
Mm.
That was it, right? The problem found us, which is so many people saying, "Hey, you advocate for women. Can you help us with our investment pipeline? Or where are the women?
Mm. Mm.
Or can it's and then officially we started. So prologue yung ang dami na yung prologue. Prologue yung lunch. Second prologue is a women's brunch that we were asked to co-host.
Mm.
That would be day one of Imaginable Impact.
Mm.
Um, eh, yeah, I'll just add a little tribute there. And the funny thing about that is, so Nina was approached for this, and she can go give a few more details around it. But we had no name, we had no website. We just had an agreement that this was what we were going to do. So we spent the day putting together our purpose paper and all of these things. Um, and then we launched. We launched before we were ready. True startups happen.
Yeah, and it was a pivotal moment because it that event, that brunch was meant to put together 35 Filipina startup founders in a room with two Asian American female VCs. Unang-una, where do you find these female VCs na pupunta ng Pilipinas, 'di ba? So when we were given the task, and it was a collaboration with Foxmont Capital Partners, 35 startup founders, like, okay, hahanapin namin tong 35 women na to. Then they will bring in the two VCs. And it was a conversation that sparked all of these other questions. And at the end of the morning, the question was, who's gonna keep this going?
Mm.
And then somebody said, and Niña and Candice invited us, so maybe they should continue it.
And yeah, and we never stopped.
Actually, that's a very crucial part kasi there's starting up for startups, but what's more important actually is the yung pag-sustain, kumbaga pagpatuloy-tuloy. And I'm happy na around that was parang 3 years na since parang start talaga ni
That's
Imaginable Impact.
February 2023.
Yeah, so 2 years going to 3 years. And now meron tayong FoundHer na actually very, very inspiring nga din actually. Siguro let's wrap up na. This is about an hour na tayo ng conversation dito. Parang naisip ko sa kanina pa I just want to ask na, and since you mentioned na kayo yung nag-keep ng ball rolling, moving forward and going to of course this is still a long battle somehow, and it's not a battle but a long advocacy, a long movement. Pero when do you say, sorry, I mean, I'm not sure if this is a good question, but parang when do you say that you have succeeded, kumbaga, and when do you say, kasi parang ang naisip ko, and actually in my previous interviews with some medyo similar na alignments, parang dapat walang distinction between male and female. It should not be like a topic at all, diba? So ayun lang, parang I just want to maybe iwanan ko kayo sa ganung question na what really is like the metric for success? When do you say you have succeeded? And parang what really is the vision, kumbaga, the future that FoundHer and Imaginable Impact maybe is really building. Ayan.
Okay. I will set up some context and Niña will follow with me. But I think it's very difficult to say metrics and vision,
Okay.
right? Vision is the world we want to see. It's what we see when everything is solved, right? It is what we're building forward. But we do have metrics that we're aiming for to know that we are succeeding. I wouldn't say successful, but succeeding, because success is, I think you choose your metrics, right? You choose the metrics you want to pursue. And we have chosen, at least for now, certain level of metrics where it is about closing the capital gap in some form. And that's where we're headed. And it took us a long time to determine, because that's a real question. We can't be a business that's just hosting brunches and, cocktails discussions. It has to go somewhere. So we decided to focus on closing the capital gender gap by supporting women in their growth to achieve a certain level of their economic success. So I don't know if Niña wants to talk about where we were a few months ago at the number we landed on, because everything's under evaluation. But
But I guess maybe not necessarily the numbers, but we wanna see more women grow to, for example, Series A level capital, diba? Kasi right now when you talk of women in startups, women founders, without knowing all the accurate data, what we do know anecdotally is that seed capital pa lang ang hirap na, diba? It's so get funding, even at pre-seed, at seed capital, at the growth capital stages. What we do know from research from some of our partners is that only 16% of women have access to growth capital. So, di ba kung bakery ka, gusto mo maging the next Mary Grace, paano na, di ba? Or, what we wanted, more women like Nina Dizon of Colorette, diba? More of Jessica of Kindred, more of them being able to build and scale their businesses and solve the problems that they intend to solve because they have access to capital.
yeah, that's the thing that really allows us to move forward, is knowing that that's where we're going. But we always need to surround ourselves with what the experts in the room are also revealing. For instance, not everyone needs VC,
Yes.
venture capital. And it's not because you're soft or you want to stay small. You need to know your business model. So as a metric, yes, I think we have several metrics, and that's the biggest one right now because it's the only one we have data to work with in some form or shape. But just growing the idea of what does capital look like for women? How do we shape the conversation around capital, alternative capital, growth capital? If you want to bootstrap and succeed, you won't say that's impossible either. So how do we close the capital gap and expand the conversation outside of just typical fundraising as well? But we have to start where we are. And where we are is a country or an ecosystem that is growing a VC-driven startup ecosystem. They are the movers and shakers, but they're also the ones who are helping us crack open the conversations. So I would say, yes, first, we want to see more startup female companies scale up. We want them to scale. How many? At this point, we just need to get the numbers. We need to get the numbers. We also need to see where the money is going. If there is funds entering this ecosystem, how much of that is entering the country? We know we would have succeeded if we could probably have impact outside of Metro Manila. Honestly, we need to have a diversity of female founders' success and growth and homegrown names. Like, I'll ask you, who's your favorite Filipina founder that you look up to? Top of your head, diba? That's local, ha? You cannot give me Melanie Perkins.
Ang first na pumasok sa isip ko, ang first na pumasok sa isip ko was Edna Mama and One Export. Those two are the first na pumasok sa
Yeah, because they're amazing. And then And then I'll push, right? Anybody, pardon me, can you name me 5? Can you name me 10? Can you name me someone from Mindanao? Right?
Actually, I can. I want to shout out pala actually. One female founder from Davao, Aim High Construction Up. It's in the construction field, but they're
That's
actually
awesome.
female founders. I think you might know them. And actually, I think they're a perfect fit for founder.
We want to have chapters there. I would. Where in Mindanao?
Mm-mm.
Are they saan sa Mindanao?
Sa Davao. Actually,
Davao.
Davao region. Yes.
Yeah, we hear exciting things about the Visayas and the Mindanao area that as soon as we're ready, we're there. We're really, really there. But yes, if we're able to count more than our favorite female founders, scale up. If we have, alam mo, it's so mababaw ha. We just need at this point 50 women to scale up. And let's say, diba, I'll just throw random numbers. Maybe not be where we're headed next year. But even if we see 50 women scale up from where they are right now, and scale up meaning, right, getting that level of support and funding, 50 in 5 years, is that too small a number? It doesn't feel ambitious enough. But it means that we will have more startup founders involved in the mission, aiming for that. That's metrics of success. What you want to do is just really influence thousands and thousands of women founders to know that they belong in this space, that they can build futures and break generational curses and build generational wealth in a country that says it's matriarchal, but we're still not there yet.
And for example, Jania, in your own field in industrial engineering, or diba any of the engineering process, where do we see na may parity of men and women, diba? If we can see that more girls are applying to these courses because they feel like I can be an engineer, I can be in DevOps, I can be in
computer science, all of it.
Actually, I'll give you some good news. So I'm from UPIE, UP in engineering. And actually, to be fair, most of the times there are more female IE students in industrial engineering kasi is yung parang, I mean, for some reason doon napupunta yung mga female but actually on other engineering courses hindi ganun ka pero
yeah, so we're excited. Yeah, to know that, I mean, this is what we need. We need people feeding us the informations. The more that we know, the more we can grow. So if you're telling us there are women in your space, like that, then tell them to be visible or speak their name, shout out all the time. Because that will allow other women who think it's not possible to pursue that space.
Sino pala invested? So she's also from UPIE.
si Carbs. Sobrang idol natin.
She's one batch, I'm one batch older than her. Ayun.
He is brilliant. Yeah, for sure.
Ayun, and actually I think the answer to my question actually is really going back sa gender gap that you're really addressing here. So numbers, really important numbers, the data to say that the number, the volume kumbaga of female founders succeeding somehow is growing, and also yung percentage, I guess, kasi we really want to close the gap. And maybe yung vision nga somehow maybe is when that gap is closed somehow, So
yeah, we'll do our part, right? It's a gender gap issue that's centuries old. And it's many thousand. But startup is where change can happen. And I think together we can do it if everybody's involved. Just don't make it, okay, the women are the ones who need it, let them do the work. It really takes all of us to make it happen.
Ayun. Yeah, so I actually over this conversation parang parang nai-inspire tsaka na-i-improve yung understanding and perspective ko. So I hope to see you sa Tuesday na yun, October 14.
I like that. Like that.
Introducing Aim High. Smarter construction management starts here. Monitor costs and progress with real-time insights. Plan ahead and adapt with streamlined scheduling tools. Make data-driven decisions to avoid costly delays. Increase efficiency and profit with Aim High.
Running a business? Make it smarter with Red Circle Global. Streamline operations, boost productivity, and manage everything in one powerful ERP system. Book your free business demo today at redcircleglobal.com. Guided by one of our top experts.
Ayun, and sige, maybe let's take this time to invite our listeners. Baka meron dyang interested to go to the Founder Summit. And in general, how can they know more? Maybe you can lead them to the website and social media channels. So, sige, go ahead, Niña and Candice.
Yeah, I'll start. We'd love to invite everybody. So again, the FoundHer Summit is open to everybody of all genders. Siguro college level pataas, baka high school. But, college level pataas of all genders, you're very welcome. The FoundHer Summit happens on October 14, Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The doors open at 8 and Senator Bam starts speaking at 9. So please be early. Para, masaya yung start natin. Tickets are available at foundher.ph. And you'll find different ticket types and bundles so that you can also bring your barkada, your team, or yung barangay nyo. Pwede din.
Yeah, and use the code of Startup Podcast so you get your 15% off. Follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. FoundHerPH is our handle. We're very accommodating. So please say hello, drop us a line in person or virtually.
Ayun, so please use our code FoundHer-SUP15. Check ko lang comments. Actually, may isang nag-comment, shout out natin si Olivia Escartich. She's also a female founder. Go daw. Go.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Olivia.
And ayun, actually naka-reach na tayo ng 500. Wow, 500 views ngayon. And ano naman tayo, mag-stay pa to sa Facebook lives. And then this episode will be out on Monday. So one day before the event, pero hopefully maka-reach pa tayo ng more listeners. So ayun, actually thank you so much, Niña and Candice. I'm very honored and actually I'm very somehow hindi naman nag-shift pero mas na-align yung mindset and yung perspective ko. So thank you very much for sharing all of this. And ayun, thank you so much. And salamat sa mga nakinig sa ating episode. Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you then for the time, actually. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our 61 patrons. This episode is super powered by AskLexPH Academy, our official e-learning partner. Get certifications on Lean Six Sigma, project management, data science, and more. Argum AI. Make smarter decisions by presenting both sides of an issue as argued by two distinct AI models. Pixel by ePlayment. Turn content into opportunity, grow deeper connections, and earn more. Only with Pixel. Sign up at pixel.eplayment.co. School of Profits. Filipino-led community for aspiring freelancers, VAs, agency builders, and online earners. Built to help you start, grow, and earn online together. Founders Launchpad, our ecosystem partner. Early stage accelerator providing venture capital funding, operational support, and mentorship. Hire Business Solutions, provider of the most configurable cloud-based payroll system in the Philippines. Agile Data Solutions, the Philippines' fastest growing market insights tech company with its data gathering platform, Hustle PH. Smile Checks, streamline hiring and onboarding with automated background checks. Cloud CFO, cloud accounting service provider for businesses ready to grow. Cloverly Tech, all-in-one digital platform for property developers. Body Beaties, accessible and personalized diabetes self-management application. HKB Digital Services, tech-based business tools including payroll, ticketing, and loyalty rewards. Hyperstocks, digital banking enabler for rural and thrift banks. One CFO, CFO services, bookkeeping and tax, and payroll processing for startups and small businesses. Unawa, driving digital transformation with secure, legally enforceable electronic signatures and robust AML compliance. SchoolTech, all-in-one AI integrated school and learning management system. Better Support, a Manila-based BPO company. They have a referral program for people who can bring in new clients. You might know a Western-based business that needs better support. Britanna, enterprise-grade ERP solution that fits the small and medium business budget. Wonder Brand, data science-driven brand strategy and design for emerging markets. East Point Business Outsourcing Services, one-stop shop for streamlined business solutions for MSMEs such as business registration, bookkeeping, and more. DiviCode Technologies Incorporated, IT solutions specializing in software development, blockchain smart contracts, digital wallets, and cybersecurity. NutriCoach, personalized nutrition and wellness programs for you. This episode is powered by Stugbodok, JIA Engineering Solutions, Alcacon Aquafeeds 1Alj, Grey Wolf Technologies Philippines, Pareto Consulting, Jure.ph, Big Giant Games, Pahatid PH, Wistless PH, Tech Tribe, Yay, Uplift Codecamp, Board Prep, Dohe Philippines, Edfolio, Hive Rooms, Sirius MD. Support the podcast through the links in the description.